Hi guys, and welcome. I'm Enigmius, and this is episode 13, lucky number 13 of the Builder's Guide to Feed the Beast. This is also part 3 of 3 of our Interdimensional Freight Transport mini-series. Today we're going to talk about how to push rail carts into other dimensions so that they can pick up things that we want to bring back to this dimension. It's actually not at all complicated or difficult, but it is worthy of explaining because I've noticed on the forums some folks are having a little bit of difficulty getting it set up properly, so that's what we're going to do. Now, if you missed the last episode and you're not really all that familiar with Railcraft, you might want to take a look at episode 12. That's where we talked about how to make tracks and booster tracks and holding tracks and things of that nature, and you'll need to know that in order to further your education in the ways of the Railcraft. It's actually really fun if you can get past the learning curve. So what I've got set up here is basically a very simple receiving station. So if I wanted to say, for example, empty the chests from our setup in the MystCraft age that I used for the early tutorial, this is sort of how I would set it up. And I've got, this is an item unloader here. This unloads chest carts. Any chest cart that drives over it with inventory in it, this thing can unload it. Now, the user interface here looks a little bit daunting. The easiest way that I can put this across is that if all you're wanting to do is have this thing unload carts that drive over it and dump it into an adjacent chest, all you have to do is make sure the T here is lit up, leave everything else alone. That's it. If you want to know more what these other things are for, how to set it up, you can check the Railcraft wiki. There's a lot more information on exactly what the UI for the item unloader and the item loader is set up to do. It's definitely beyond the scope of this. It's actually a fairly robust system, but we're trying to keep things simple and approachable, so make sure the T is lit. Everything else you can ignore. So beside that guy, we've got just a basic wooden chest, and you can see I've been doing some testing, and these are items that I've been sending back and forth here and there just to make sure that everything works. You could use a gold chest, you could use a crystal chest, it doesn't matter. As long as it's adjacent to the unloader will just plunk it in there for you. So then if you wanted to, you could have pipes or tubes or whatever, pulling the items out of the chest and sorting it to somewhere else. Whatever you want to do with them, that's how you would set it up, is unloader to an adjacent chest, and then pipes and tubes to wherever you want it to go. Now you can see I've also got the crystal blocks in place for a MystCraft portal, which is kind of important. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get things to and from the Nether or to and from the Twilight Forest. You're still going to be using a MystCraft portal, because the MystCraft portal is what allows you to specify exactly where you want things to leave and arrive from. So basically, I can build this portal wherever I want it and send something through, and it's the location where I made the book that wound up in this receptacle that determines where it arrives. And so, for example, when I'm making the portal for the MystCraft age side, I can stand here, make the link book, and know that the cart is going to show up roughly here. And we'll get into that in a little more detail momentarily. But for now, let's actually head over and look at the other side. We have this is our permanent MystCraft portal that we've set up so we can get to and from our facilities. Now you can see over here is basically I've done the same thing. I've got a world anchor here to make sure that this all stays loaded. That's very important. If this age is not loaded, your cart will not move when it arrives on this side. And then here I've got an item loader. So anything that is put into this buffer here or an adjacent chest will be loaded into any kind of chest cart that drives under it. And all you need to do to make sure that happens is make sure T is lit. Again, we could get into all these other things, but it's just beyond the scope of what we're talking about. For the sake of simplicity, all you need to know is T is lit means everything will be emptied out of the buffer or an adjacent chest unless and until the cart is full. Okay, so that's what we've got there. And again, we've got a holding track here. We made these, I think we made these last episode. I know we definitely made the components for holding tracks last episode. Wooden rail beds, advanced rails, a stone pressure plate, which is just a couple of pieces of stone and a piece of redstone. We'll make 8 holding tracks. So it's not an expensive track setup at all. And you only need one under each item loader or unloader, or liquid loader, unloader. And that's it. So basically what we want to do is we want to set it up so that when we send a cart through the portal in the overworld, it arrives here, lands on a track, hits the boost, comes around here. If there's something in here to get loaded into it, it'll get stopped automatically and loaded. And then it'll come around here, pass through the portal on the other side, and then arrive, you know, in the same sort of track location, go around to the unloader, unload, come around to the portal over there, bounce it back into here, we'll arrive somewhere over here, and on and on and on, an infinite loop. And that's the simplest way to do this. And once you've got that set up, once you know how to do that, then it's just a matter of kind of expanding on your understanding of Railcraft so you can make your systems larger and more robust. So what we'll do is we'll get these portals set up and we'll get a cart on them, and then we'll set the cart to run it around doing our evil bidding. So the first thing that I want to do, and one thing that I learned actually, and this is important, I think, and actually just as I was talking, I did what I didn't want to do. First of all, you want ideally the cart to arrive onto a booster track, because I found that when they do arrive, they tend not to be moving so fast sometimes. And it's also a good idea to have a backstop of some sort, just in case the cart's a little bit wonky when it arrives. It's not going to get shot backwards and off the track. The idea is to put in preventative measures so that this is maintenance free. Once you set it to going, you don't really have to worry about it. So we've got the booster track, it's powered. Now the other thing I learned, whether I wanted to or not, is that when you're making the... Actually, I should pull that up. When you're making the linking book for the destination, it's not a bad idea to do it a block above where you actually want the cart to land. So I'll show you what I'm referring to here. Don't worry about the item lag. Like, that track there is actually not there, as you can see, but for some reason lately I've been getting a lot of block lag. So what I want to do basically is I want to go 1 block above where I really want the cart to arrive. And then because I want the cart to arrive here and face this direction, then that's what I do, is I stand here and face this direction, and I make my linking book. Now this will go in the portal that's already in the overworld. So then we can go like this. We'll take this down. We'll put our booster track back. We'll put our lever back. Power up our booster track. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this. The holding tracks here, when you put them underneath an item loader or a liquid loader, the loader still handles this even though it's not directly connected to it. So you don't have to worry about putting a lever or a button or any kind of redstone wiring connecting to this track. This guy will look after it. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that with the loader for items, just 1 block above the track, the liquid loader can be 2 blocks above the track. So now we can head back to the overworld briefly. We'll have to take this portal. And now basically we're just doing the same thing here. Is we want to, first of all, we'll make our linking book 1 block above where we want the cart to arrive, facing that direction. Make the book, put that there for now, and then we can clear that out. We keep forgetting it's nighttime, and either we're going to get blown up or this thing's just going to start going batshit crazy because something's going to spawn nearby. So we'll put down the booster track, make sure that is a booster track, yep. And we'll put down a lever to power the booster track, and we'll put down a bit of a backstop. And the rest looks good. So then what we do is this portal is the one that's going to send it to our MystCraft age. So we want the book that's going to go to the MystCraft age. We go bloop, and you can see I've also got a world anchor here. Actually, I'll show you this now because it is important, especially if you're looking at expanding your rail operations. There is a button, and I'll show it to you in your controls momentarily. See all the little purple dots that just appeared? That's indicating the area that is affected by the world anchor. So when we're talking about a 3x3 chunk area, if you want to know exactly what the bounds of that are, you can push your Railcraft Aura hotkey and it will make purple dots appear. Anywhere that there is a purple dot is within that boundary area. So if you see we go over this way, you can sort of see that that's about the edge of it right there. And you can see, of course, to make me a liar, they start appearing. That's pretty close. Right, that's a fairly reasonable indication, and it goes, all the different directions. So that's something to keep in mind. And it's like I have to use F4 because my video capture software is bound to F9. F9 is the default, but it's this one right here that you want, the Railcraft Anchor Aura. It's pretty handy, especially when you're trying to lay things out and make sure that they don't come out of the bounds of the world anchor. So we'll shut that off now. Good to go, and now we should be able to jump through here. And you see where we landed? Right on the booster track. That's exactly what we wanted. And now if everything is done properly, we've got our linking book that's sending us to the overworld. We will put that in here. You can see it makes the portal. So now, barring any kind of disaster, we should be able to put this cart on the track and watch it come through the portal, and then a few seconds later it should appear right about here and carry on about its merry way. There we go. Just like that. So sometimes it takes a little bit of fiddling, but that one tip that I would suggest that you try not to forget is to set that block up above, like I did the little dirt block so that I was standing a block above when I made the linking book, because otherwise you end up having to do crazy stuff with digging pits and making little ramps and things of that nature. It's just not quite so slick. So now what we want to do is we'll take the stone axe and the iron shovel and our crystals, and let's send them to the overworld and see if they end up in our chest. So this is the chest above the item loader. And actually, as the cart comes around, you'll see this time, because the loader has something for it, it actually stopped the cart and then loaded it up and shipped it out through the portal. Let it go, basically. And then this acts as sort of like a booster track. It'll give it a shove. And now this time around, there was nothing in the chest to load, so it just keeps going. So, if we've done our job, we should be able to flop through here and come down here. You can see it's doing its job nicely. It's going through the portal here, and then a few seconds later it appears like so. So now if you can duplicate this kind of setup, you're in a position to ship lava from the nether to the overworld. You can ship, you can set up a quarry in a MystCraft mining age and have it ship the materials across. We did talk about how you can also do this with ender chests, but if you're talking about moving a substantial volume, once you get the hang of it, it's easier to set up extra lanes for extra minecarts and cheaper to move that extra volume than it is to set up an extra ender chest, because you have to remember an ender chest holds 9 items. A basic chest cart holds 27, and a Steve's cart, storage cart, I don't even know. It's probably up close to 100. It would be my guess how many items that it can hold. So there's definitely room for it, and it's stupid fun. But all we really want to do now is make sure that our crystals and our shovel and our stone axe made it through the portal, which it did. We are now interdimensional freight transporters. Congratulations. So give it a shot. See what you can do. To set up something like this isn't expensive. You don't have to invest a ton to try it out. If you don't like it, you've still got ender chests. And if you do like it, you've got something to do after you've got your quantum armor. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was helpful. Next episode, we're just going to be focusing on controlling traffic with the Railcraft stuff. We won't be worrying too much about sending it across different dimensions, and then from there we'll continue on with whatever else we need to know. So if you want to be notified when I add the next video, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.